Hey everyone, and welcome. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining us for today's explainer because we're going to fundamentally shift the way you think about building a business. Look, if you've been chasing that modern dream of setting up a totally scalable, automated business, the kind where the systems do all the heavy lifting while you just focus on growth, but instead you feel like you've just been running full speed into a brick wall. Well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to break down the actual and honestly kind of counterintuitive path to getting there. So get comfortable, focus in, and let's get started. Let's just cut right to the chase with a pretty tough question. Why isn't your automated business working? I really want to validate a frustration that I know so many of you are feeling right now. You've bought the expensive software, you've meticulously built out all the funnels, and you've mapped out these incredibly complex email sequences. You did literally everything the playbook said to do to create this hands-off revenue machine. And yet you log in and the dashboard is just staring back at you with zero sales. Just digital crickets. It feels like a punch in the face after all that technical setup, doesn't it?
Well, here's the brutally honest truth. It's not working because you're automating a guess. Actually, most entrepreneurs have this completely backwards. They try to automate every single touch point before they have any hard data on what actually works in the real world. They build these massive machines based entirely on assumptions about what their customers want, what subject lines they're going to click on, and what exact wording will actually convince them to pull out their credit cards. It's like guessing your audience wants a discount when in reality, they just want faster results.
Okay, let's dive a bit deeper into this and look at the core principle at play here. We need to talk about what's known as the multiplier effect. You see, automation isn't some magic wand that just suddenly creates demand out of thin air. It's simply a magnifying glass. It's a tool that takes whatever you currently have and it multiplies it at scale. It really just amplifies the results of a process that already exists in your business. And because of this multiplier effect, automation simply cannot fix a broken system. I gotta give you a little tough love here using that multiplier analogy. If your current sales process or your messaging converts at 0, what do you think happens when you automate it and run 1,000 people through it? A 0 multiplied by 1,000 is still exactly 0. You just can't use software to patch up a marketing message that doesn't actually resonate with real human beings. And this is the exact trap so many of us fall into. When you rush to automate a weak, untested sales process, you aren't scaling your success. You are literally just scaling failure. You're just reaching more and more people with a message that doesn't convert, and you're burning through your leads and your budget in the process. But on the flip side, when you wait and automate a proven process, well, that's when you achieve actual explosive scaling success. So how do we actually fix this? Let's talk about the solution. I want to introduce you to the manual playbook. Now, I know it sounds like a step backward when we're supposed to be talking about automation, right? But getting your hands dirty with unscalable manual work is actually the fastest, most effective path to profitable automation. You just have to be willing to step away from the software dashboard for a minute and get into the trenches with your audience. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, here are the chronological first steps you have to take when you're launching a new business or product. First, yes, you absolutely still need traffic. You need eyeballs on your offer, for sure. But here's the big pivot. Instead of just dumping those leads straight into a funnel, you need to follow up personally. That means pulling the plug on that complex autoresponder for right now and simply writing fresh, real-time emails to your list. Maybe once or twice a week. Write to them based on what's happening right now, today, rather than relying on some sequence you guessed at 3 months ago. Now, what's truly fascinating about this paradigm shift is the core objective behind these fresh emails. Your primary goal is not just to pitch a product or get a quick click. Your goal is to explicitly encourage replies. You want to spark direct, one-on-one conversations with your subscribers. You want them to hit that reply button and talk back to you, human to human. And when they do reply, that's when you put on your investigator hat. Here is exactly the data you are hunting for during these manual interactions. You're doing this to truly, deeply learn your market. You need to extract their goals, like what is their absolute dream outcome. You need to uncover their fears, what's actually keeping them up at night, find their frustrations, what have they already tried that completely failed, and definitely collect their questions. What is confusing them? This raw data, straight from the customer's mouth, is pure gold. It's the difference between guessing your audience wants better SEO when they actually just want the phone to ring. Right about now, you might be thinking, this sounds exhausting. I wanted passive income. And look, I get it. But you have to entirely reframe this grind phase. As our source material points out, you need to treat this manual phase like a part-time job. Invest your spare hours, your evenings, your weekends directly into these one-on-one prospect conversations. Yes, it definitely takes effort, and no, it's not sipping pina coladas on a beach, but this short-term, gritty part-time job is exactly what funds the long-term automated dream. Let me highlight exactly why this matters so much. You can't just have these great conversations and then forget about them. You must meticulously record them for the future. Document every single question you're asked, every objection a prospect raises, and most importantly, the specific responses you gave that successfully overcame those objections and led to a sale. Because these recorded interactions, they don't just help you today, they literally become the exact proven copy for your future automated emails, your sales pages, and your offers. And guys, this brings us to the turning point. This is the climax of the whole strategy. Once you've done this manual work, once you have the data, and you have manually proven what actually converts, you finally step into the reward phase, automating with confidence. You're no longer just crossing your fingers and hoping a funnel works. You are transitioning to the automated dream backed by undeniable real-world data from actual paying customers. So what's the trigger? When do you actually flip that switch? Well, the criteria is pretty simple. First, you identify what consistently works. The same emails getting replies, the same answers driving sales over and over. Second, you just keep doing it manually until you reach the genuine point of overwhelm. Like, you literally cannot keep up with the volume of replies because your manual process is working so incredibly well. Third, and only then, do you hand that proven, overwhelming process over to automation software to scale it. I really want you to consider this bottom line thesis that ties everything together. The businesses that run on autopilot tomorrow are built by owners willing to do the unscalable work today. Just let the gravity of that realization sink in for a second. True passive income is earned through highly active, unscalable, manual effort upfront. You just have to build the relationships and learn the market first. Which leaves us with this final, pretty provocative question for you to take away from today's explainer. Take a really close look at your own operations right now. What process are you trying to automate today that you haven't actually proven yet? Are you guilty of automating a guess? I highly encourage you to rethink your current systems, maybe shut off those unproven autoresponders for a bit, and get back to the manual, unscalable work of just talking to your audience. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really hope this helps you build a truly scalable success.